This video is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Number 1, read the line.
You will behold the glory of my sacred wood.
That's not him.
Okay. Number 2, read the line.
You will behold the glory of my sacred wood.
Absolutely not.
Okay. Number 3.
You will behold the glory of my sacred wood.
That's him.
Every year, 1 in 5 gamers is accosted by an elf. We're tired of elves.
One of the other things they were talking about was, well, they showed us all the maps for Abyssal Mall and Ragnaros's thing, Fireland.
Fireland Raid.
Raid.
I think it's. I don't think they have an actual final name for it.
Yeah, it's still the Firelands Raid. And they're trying to say it's more on the caliber of Mount Hyjal Raid, because you have the outside combat and feel of it, and then
Yeah, it's outdoor, indoor.
yeah, and then we go inside, and I would say it's more.
They've been doing that a lot.
It sounds like Uldor more to me.
Yeah, Uldor or ICC, where we're outside fighting the ramparts, and then we get on the gunship, and so I could see that being more related to than Mount Hyjal, because that's how they just worded it. But it's still going to be fun and interesting and a dynamic gameplay, because especially if it's a huge scale, they said that we're capable of mounting up, so I'm assuming that's going to be part of it, where we're running back and forth, kind of like how Hyjal was. But it's just another cool little one feature for one raid, and I hope they don't repeat it for all of them, because then it just makes it redundant.
Yeah, repetitive nature is never a good thing.
Yeah.
One other thing they did add in that panel was they're adding new map features.
Oh, right, yeah, the enhanced maps. That was actually a good one. That was probably the biggest announcement they've made for WoW
I think
itself.
so. I mean, it's not for launch though. It's for 4.1.
Yeah.
That's the 4.1.
There was something they
Or
wanted
not,
to do
maybe
for
not
WoW.
even 4.1.
Yeah, no.
They didn't even specify.
So it was mentioned like right after the 4.1
Yeah.
preview, but they didn't say it was specifically 4.1.
Exactly, yeah.
But they said it wasn't shipped. It wasn't going to be shipped to Cataclysm.
What it is they've announced up to now that they're going to go and do 2D maps for all the classic raids, or all the dungeons and raids.
Which you guys remember that's what they did for Revolution. We have maps when we go into it.
Yeah, so instead of making it the mini map, they're going
Revolutionary
to
idea.
But they're going a step further, where we see
like 4 steps further.
Yeah, it really is. Cause
like calling it an enhanced map is a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, because you can get abilities, and tells you exactly what those abilities do. It doesn't tell you the fight, because they still want the gameplay to be there, but you can know the loot that they drop, the
some lore.
Yeah, the
loot,
lore behind it,
abilities,
3D model of it too, and it's probably going to be
3D portrait.
Yeah, and so it is a lot more interesting, especially for those bosses where you have no idea what the hell they're doing in the instance anyway.
Right, you can actually figure out why you're fighting this guy.
Yeah, and it sits there and says, well, because he's a jerk and he's associated with this guy.
Yeah.
So
and he's associated with others.
He's a buddy of this guy, so he's
so we're just gonna kill him.
Yeah.
But that's a lot more engaging than missing 3 quests in the zone and you go, that's crap, and you don't even do them because there's so many other quests that you can do to just level up, that you skip over them, and so you miss out on that lore, and then you go into the dungeon, and because you missed out of it, it's just
you have no idea why you're there.
Yeah, but they are adding every quest, dungeon quest is going to be in the instance. No, it's going to be inside.
Well, not also just that, they also said that they want the dungeons to be the climax of the zone.
Yeah.
And so all the quests will lead up to the dungeon.
They're making it more Westfall-y, which is probably the best way to put it, because that was given like all of Westfall was, most of those quests were leading you to Dead Mines.
Yeah, so it was all about the Defias.
Yeah, and everybody always said that, most Alliance people would always say that was their favorite zone, because it was just so cohesive. It was the zone was either a lot allied with the Dead Mines crew, Van Cleef and his people, or they were against it. And so you really remembered that, so they're sticking that with the rest of them. But I mean, the enhanced map sounds really, really cool.
It's going to be a great feature. So I'm looking forward to it.
I mean,
hopefully
that's the bone we've been thrown at this point in time.
Yeah, hopefully it won't get cut or thrown behind like a bunch of other features.
It's not gonna be Dance Studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dance Studio.
Sorry.
Never come around. One of the other, the ones, probably the biggest hit last year's BlizzCon, which Pixie60 put up a video of, was the raid that they did, the live raid.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
So this year they invited Paragon. They had two guys from Paragon come down, and then they had 3 Blizzard employees running.
Yeah, it was was it Greg Street,
Yeah.
Ghost Caller?
Oh yeah, they were the color commentary. So Alex, like Afrosby, I butcher the guy's name every time. Ghost Brawler and a color commentator from, it wasn't Team Liquid, but it was a place like that.
Yeah, one of the major league
Esports or something like that.
Yeah, oh, it was esports.
Yeah.
So they were doing the color commentary, and then they had 2 or 3 Blizzard employees actually running it. So they would tweak it on the fly as needed, and then they had, they showed Paragon just randomly had to fight 4 waves, 3 or 4.
Well, there was supposed to be 4, but they only. I think they got to all 4.
They didn't beat them all.
They had.
It started a half-hour late.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it was only supposed to be a half an hour long, so, and they didn't have a lot of time for it, so, but they did 4 Molten Core bosses
At once.
And they were all tuned up to level 85.
Right,
so that it wasn't.
Well,
this was through the beta server.
Yeah.
So they were fighting at 85.
Yeah, they were 85. So
I didn't catch that, so I was like, wait.
They were on the beta server.
Yeah, so.
I mean, I think it was their
What
characters.
was that spell?
Yeah. Well, it was all their characters that I'm sure they've been invited to test raids at 85 for, a couple months now.
Yeah.
Since they're.
Through the internal testing too.
Yeah, I mean, only Guild to Kill It with 5%, Lich King Heroic. But, it was their characters and they're all used to it. But they did the Molten Core, they did, it was a combo of
Black
BWL and UBRS, right?
Yeah.
And then they did a bunch of
dragons.
No, a bunch of the new
bosses
for the 5-man bosses.
Yeah, they did the dungeon bosses, which are reportedly hard as it is.
Yeah, and they tuned
them up. Yeah,
and they had to do all 4 of them together, and
they had a bunch of AOE spells that were just like
sick
when they hit together.
There's this chain ability, and then there's this huge cone of fire.
Well, it wasn't
from
even
the shield. That was really cool.
It was more of like a never-ending flamethrower.
And he just like flipped it in different directions.
He would target, and then like if that guy died, he'd target this one. And
their first attempt, it killed the tank, and then it turned and just killed everyone. And so he just kind of F them up. But,
and then they did a bunch of new dragons, plus Firemon, I think.
Well,
there's Firemon. There's a guy who was like Veilstrasz.
Yeah.
So they had Veilstrasz's buff, which made it a little quicker. Wasn't there Rend or Blackhand?
Yeah.
A Blackhand?
Yeah, there was a Blackhand, and then there was one of the new Twilight things, Twilight dragons.
And then the surprise, which most of us saw coming, was the whole idea was they were defending Overmar.
Yeah, it was all outdoors, and had actual Overmar on the beta servers.
Yeah, they were right outside the city, and they actually did some graveyard running since it was outdoors.
Yeah.
And the ending thing last year was Hogger, the invincible Hogger, who was gigantic.
Just one-shotting everyone.
Yeah, one-shot everyone he hit. They had Deathwing just come in and just decimate everyone, and then Flame Breath on Overmar.
Yeah, and he had a little voiceover action.
It was coming because we all knew, especially because the dragons were left for the last, and so they go, well, where
are you gonna go from dragons?
Yeah, and so when they're like, maybe when they kill this dragon, we'll have a special surprise come in. And as soon as they said that, I readied my camera and I was like, it's definitely.
Yeah.
And so I had my camera focused on the screen, and then when he came over, I caught 2 shots, and they'll be posted. But
we gotta give props to Paragon. They killed the dragon wave. They killed the second.
Well, they
killed 3 waves.
They didn't finish the dragon wave. They did.
The GMs hurried it up and gave them more DPS or something.
But I think they just did a kill command on the last guy. So.
But they still did pretty decent on the first 2.
They were gonna beat it. They just ran out of time, I think.
Yeah, because they only used. They were giving them a 3 strikes type of thing before they moved on, because they wanted us to see all of the content that they had. But the first one was ridiculous because it's molten core. No one's really done that except if you're farming it. And
Yeah.
so they were joking around going, it's been so long, they don't know what they're doing. But the first attempt, I don't know how long they lasted, but
Not that long.
towards the third, they had a pretty
Well,
dialed
they
down
did
to
it.
like a boss fight of all
Yeah.
four of them. As
They
a
had
council.
them all split perfectly, and
Yeah.
like just, I mean, it was Gahannis, Baron,
Shadra. And Magmadar. Wait, do we say Magmadar?
what else was there? So it was Gahannis, Magmadar,
Shazra.
Shazrat,
And then that,
and
Baron Geddon.
yeah.
So, I mean, there's two guys there with serious AoE. Baron with the bomb and Shadrat with the arcane explosion. And then Magmadar has breath.
Yeah.
So that's pretty dangerous.
And then he does a fear too.
Right, and he has that huge
Yeah.
fear, that's right. And if you don't trank shot him, he goes nuts.
Oh yeah, he isn't enraged.
So,
Well, it's not. You can't trank.
Yeah.
Well, you can trank it, but yeah.
Back in the day, you couldn't,
Yeah.
but now we can.
so I mean, they wiped twice, and the second time they tried to get Shat first, Shazrat, and it
Yeah,
didn't.
I think they did try it the first time too.
Yeah, and it just didn't work at all.
AoE'd them and destroyed them.
Yeah, I mean, they just kept. So they just, when they finally beat him, they just pulled him like way away,
Saved them for
solo
last.
tank. Yeah, and they did him last, and it was. I mean, I would love to have heard their vent to see like, because they were literally learning this on the fly, and like had no idea what was coming.
Well-
They didn't know if they had changed their abilities.
Well, not just that, they also didn't even tell them until 60 minutes before, oh, we're outside Ogremar fighting waves.
Yeah.
And so the guys
Yeah.
they're all in vent showing, they're like, oh, what are we going to do for the live raid? And they go, well, you're fighting outside Ogremar on the beta servers, and it's all GM run.
Yeah.
Okay,
And then-
anything else you want to tell us? It's a bunch of bosses.
Bring your fire and res gear.
Yeah. They don't know. They had no idea what
Yeah.
bosses it was. Like each wave.
But they must have been speaking fast, because they only spent maybe 2 minutes.
Oh, they were ready to pull the next wave. like-
Yeah, no, 2 minutes max of preparing before the next wave of the strat they're going to try. And then after that first wipe, it was like 30 seconds to modify what they were.
Yeah, they were like, okay, we need to not attack Shaft.
Yeah,
Shaft
and then the
first.
third time, they're
Totally
like,
able to do this.
this is exactly what we're doing, let's do it, and then they do it.
And they one-shotted the BW. Well, sorry, it kind of spawned on top of them.
Yeah,
which
they
was kinda
spawned it
cheesy.
and
They weren't ready.
The GMs did that on purpose.
Yeah.
Well, they were standing. In the
They were
wrong
standing where
place.
they spawned.
Yeah.
So I don't even think it was on purpose, but so it spawned like right when they killed the other stuff, and they just got swarmed. And then, but once they actually set up and tried, they one-shot it. It was easy for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Chromagus,
Drac, General Drac.
Drac,
Um,
I don't
Beast,
remember.
the Beast.
Beast.
Yeah, the Beast.
And there's one more from BWL.
I can't remember which one.
Yeah, I can't remember.
But
So that was UBRS and BWL
BWL.
guys.
It was pretty close with it too, because they lost.
They were doing a 250,000 DPS at one point during that fight.
Yeah, as a collective
Single
rate,
target,
not
not
like
even
one
Single
person.
target,
because
yeah.
AoE, they got up to like 500,000 or
Yeah.
something. Like,
Ridiculous.
But it's also 85 and scaled up, so it is a bit, oh my gosh, huge
Yeah.
numbers. But if we do take a look at it, it's kind of the equivalent of what we're doing right now, because just of how the numbers are being changed.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. We're not Paragon.
Well, that too.
nobody
But-
is really.
It was,
I mean, it's probably equivalent for them.
well, yeah, but it was pretty close. They lost 2-3 guys, and they were popping battle reses, or they were just running back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there
Mostly
was-
runbacks, I think.
Yeah,
They hit the
One
res
of
timer.
Because the graveyard was right there. Like
Yeah,
they were fighting on the
top,
graveyard
yeah.
for a couple of
But
fights.
half the raid was at 10% health for
Yeah, it was
maybe
very
5
simple.
seconds or something like that. But
They did not get the third wave against the new bosses. That was just
ridiculous.
They had all 4 of them had AoE, I think.
Yeah, there was one with a spike, like a
There was
shooting
spikes.
spike.
There was
Yeah,
one that would chain you. There was
The fire one.
There was a
that
fire.
breaks you.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
And those bosses all had. So since they're all the new bosses, they had the warnings on the screen.
And they all had speech.
They all had
They were
speech and
yelling
taunts.
at each other.
And yeah, they're all yelling
Same
and
time.
stuff. So that was really cool to see that. But man, that was a
That
mess.
did not go well.